So your website URL should usually be your company name. If your company name is extremely long, maybe shorten it down. Acronyms are really big, especially in like the association and the nonprofit world. Keep it short and simple, but make sure it has your name or something that is related to your name within it. Aside from doing your main URL, so your landing page, your homepage, whichever it is, think about the pages you create and how you modify the URLs to go into that. If you do a drop and drag type of build on your website, usually you can't manipulate the URLs too much and they will set them up appropriately. By appropriately, I mean it'll take the different breadcrumbs of your website and it tells you where it's housed in, and it will also do the spacing for you correctly. So I think a super huge mistake that is made is when it comes to modifying your page URLs, people will do different things for what the space should be. Obviously, you can't have a space in a URL, any web page address URL. It just doesn't allow for it. So what you should use is just a hyphen, like a dash, a hyphen, right? A lot of people will either not put anything in, will use like a period. Some people use an underscore. Universally, you should be using a dash. What's the name I just used? I don't know. A dash, until I remember what the word for that is. Why you don't want to, one, not use anything is because it'll run everything together and it's really hard to read. Also, if there's no break within words, it can sometimes mean a lot of things depending on who you are, depending on how you take it. So making sure you're breaking up each word is very important. Using a period gets really tricky, can get lost. Sometimes people just leave the periods out. I would not recommend using a period at all. Sometimes even when you're redoing the URL, it'll shut it down because it'll say like organization.com/education/video/ the period. It'll cut it out and not let you use that second period because you already have the first one to create the domain in general. So I would not advise, if it'll somehow let you sneak them in there, don't do it. It could really start to break things up. And then using an underscore, I wouldn't do either, because when HTML gets involved and it starts reading things, it's gonna throw it completely off. So for example, when you store a PDF or a picture in your site, so these are usually for people who aren't using drop or drag sites. If you're building with HTML code, or if you're using a WYSIWYG form, something along those lines, when you upload the PDF file or the picture or the video that's going to go into your site, those names are converted into underscores where spaces should be. It's just the way coding goes. It's just how it reads it. Putting that into a URL will mess it up. Again, most will not let you do that, but if you somehow get around it and it lets you, I just advise you not to. I think a rule of thumb is to not try to find your way around things when it comes to a URL. I know that really sounds like common sense, but some people will try to do it around because maybe they have a way that they think it just makes sense to do it that way. And the overall universal way of creating these things, it doesn't make sense. So just make sure to use your dashes in between, and make sure when you're setting them up, when you're setting up the URLs, when you're setting up your page in general, any page you're doing, a main page, a sub page, an overview, your home page, I don't care which one you're setting up, make sure you're aligning it into the correct categories, because again, like I said before, the breadcrumbs of it are so important. So for example, let's say that I am making a new donors page on the website, right? So it would be myorganization.org/support-organization/support, because that's the overview page, /donate, because you would then click on the donation portion. Sorry, my phone just fell. /donors-of-2020, because the title of the page will be Donors of 2020, and those dashes will be where the spaces are. So your URLs are really, really important. And remember, it's so hard to change them once you publish them and put them out somewhere. So if you're not going to share them on social media, on email marketing, on different sites, change away. But once you share that URL and then change it, you're gonna have broken links all over. And that just doesn't really look that good. So just put a lot of thought into the URL as much as you would creating the page in general or creating the website.